على ربى الأنس شيدنا مدارسنا بالآي نروي فؤادا كان عطشانا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are back with Sira series. In today's episode, we are going to discuss the bargaining and the renunciation. Finally, the boycott of Quraish. If Muhammad could not be tempted to renounce his religion, the Meccan thought, perhaps he would compromise. They sent a group of men to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a suggestion as to how each side in the dispute could be made happy. We wish to place before you something which will set the matter right for you, said the Quraysh. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, "What's that?" "You worship our God for 1 year," they explained, "and we worship your God for 1 year. That way, if our religion is true, you will have the share of reward. And if your religion is true, we will have a share." In reply to this suggestion from the Quraysh, Suratul Kafirun was revealed, chapter 109, verse 1 to 6. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also revealed two additional verses of stressing the monotheistic purity of Islam. That is, chapter 39, verse number 64, chapter 6, verse number 56. Once the Meccans understood that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sincere in his beliefs and was not prepared to compromise, they were determined to find out whether he was an actual prophet or not. In order to find out how to test Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they asked three questions. If Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam answered them correctly, then he was indeed a prophet. But what are those three questions? Kindly comment and say. Finally, boycott of Banu Hashim, the year of grief. The unbelievers were aware that the tactics they employed to check the tide of Islam were ineffectual. A conference was called in the 7th year of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's prophethood to find some more effective methods for achieving their objective. The hardliners advocated a total trade and marriage boycott of the Muslim and their supporters. Social boycott of Muslims. The Meccan chiefs enforced this resolution onto other ordinary Meccans and outsiders. They enforced shopkeepers not to sell any items to the Muslim and their supporters. When outside traders came to Mecca to sell their items, the Meccan chief agreed to buy their goods with prices as high as 10 times. This was to prevent the traders from selling their goods to the Bani Hashim tribe. The Quraysh held a meeting and decided to outcast the Banu Hashim and Banu al-Muttalib by placing them under a total social boycott. The other clans from the Quraysh would not marry their daughters, transact any business with them, keep company with them, nor would they accept any peace over from these two clans. Once all the people present had agreed with the points mentioned, Baqid bin Amir bin Hashim put this pact in writing. The Quraysh chief signed this document and the parchment was hung in the Kaaba in order to give it authority. This was done on the 1st Muharram in the 7th year of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's mission. When the deed was done, Baqid's hands became paralyzed. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with Abu Talib and clan members of Banu Hashim and Banu Abd al-Muttalib, were forced to withdraw from Mecca and live in Shiba Abi Talib, which was a subsection of one of the gorses that ran down to Mecca. The valley rested between Mount Abu Khubais to the south and the Mount Abiyat to the north. The boycott was devastating and for many months they lived in misery. It was so rigorously applied and food was so scarce that they had to eat the leaves of the trees. The women and the more especially the children and suckling babies would cry with hunger, which could be heard all over the valley. The Quraysh told the merchants not to sell any goods to them. Prices were increased to prevent them from buying even essentials. They remained in that state for 3 years. Apart from some kind of Quraishi people who secretly sent food to them, they were totally abandoned. Despite such grim circumstances, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ never ceased inviting non-Muslims to Islam. He was particularly active during the time of Hajj. It was at this time that he would speak to tribes that had traveled to Mecca from all over the Arab world. Abu Jahl became suspicious of the sudden rebellion, but Abu Talib saw his opportunity to step in. He had come into the precinct of Kaaba to tell the Quraysh that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had received a revelation about the fate of the wicked parchment. He stood up and facing the Quraysh told them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had revealed to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that the termites had eaten the parchment inside the Kaaba. The only thing that remained of the document, Abu Talib said, were the words in your name, O Allah. Abu Talib then challenged the Quraysh, saying that if the Prophet's claim turned out to be false, he would no longer stand between them and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, if the Prophet had spoken the truth, the Quraysh should end the boycott. The Quraysh accepted Abu Talib's challenge and thus the boycott ended. Inshallah, in our next video, we are going to learn what is the Quraysh petition to Abu Talib and the year of sorrow. Till then, stay tuned, stay blessed. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant